Rising tensions in the Middle East are threatening to disrupt global energy markets with potential economic consequences for Kenya and the wider East African region. Last week, the United States and Israel carried out strikes on Iran, prompting retaliatory missile attacks by Tehran across the region. The Iran-backed group Hezbollah has also launched attacks from Lebanon, escalating fears of a broader conflict that could destabilize key oil routes and global supply chains. As NTV's Brian George reports, the fallout from the escalating hostilities could soon be felt by households and businesses here at home.
Kenyans are set to feel the impact of supply chain disruptions, risks to remittances and investment flows, and longer and more expensive shipping and imports as the war involving the United States and Israel attacking Iran continues. Major shipping companies such as Maersk and MSC are avoiding the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz due to security risks and attacks on vessels. Experts and economists who spoke to NTV say importers will need to consider alternative importation routes and markets.
And China is an incredible example of diversification. If you look at China last year, they got serious tariffs from the US, but they were able to really diversify to new markets, and they actually ended up with the largest trade surplus in history. So I think it's having supply chains that are nimble and markets that there's a variety of markets. However, if you look at importing companies that import grain, import wheat, import fuel, I think those have to be able to look at alternative supply chains.
As Kenyans stare at more supply chain disruptions, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers has equally called on its members to exercise prudence as the industry stares at imminent forex pressures when importing key raw materials that are overheads in manufacturing.
One of the things that needs to happen immediately is a conversation with the lenders, with the banks, to sort of give concessions, clear concessions and waivers for some of the manufacturers or businessmen that might have had slight disruptions in terms of importation of raw materials and in terms of importation of the crude oil that is a necessity to the part of the production. So negotiation or negotiating the terms of various loans.
From a more long-term perspective, the association equally called for continental political goodwill to pronounce itself on peacekeeping, develop infrastructure like the Northern Corridor that connects Africa under the African Union Kampala Declaration, infrastructure that will ramp up intra-African trade from the current 15%.
Now, one of the findings that we realized was low intra-African trade. We want to increase that. 2, we want to increase processing. And 3, we want to ensure there's policy coherence between agriculture, infrastructure, climate change, and trade. And we believe that the corridor approach is important for a number of reasons, ensuring that we transform, corridors from just transit corridors to development zones.
With the discussions happening now, more and more local production can be stimulated by also securing demand, because Africa really, we have a deficit market. So anybody manufacturing locally should actually find a way of working within this program, the ecosystem, to have local production for them and have all the infrastructure needed to ensure markets are available, raw materials available, food is available, and also inputs providers make commercially viable business.
Thousands of Kenyans work in Gulf countries such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. Remittances, which are a major source of foreign exchange, may take a hit as the unrest may cause a shrink on jobs, further affecting incomes.
With key lessons from COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war eras, experts now opine that Kenyans need to adapt fast and sustainably, as this war is not predictable when exactly it would end. Brian George Otieno, NTV, Nairobi.